Welcome to the show. My guest tonight is Demi Broderick.
Hi, thanks for having me.
Thanks for coming. Can you tell everyone a little bit about yourself?
Yeah, for sure. So I am a female entrepreneur in Calgary, and I own a few companies. They're not all like correlation with one another. I guess two are. One's wildly different. So I own a couple daycares out in Airdrie, and then I own a private school for children with special needs. And lastly, I own a tequila company called Tequila VIDA.
Yeah, very different.
Yes, very different. I think a lot of the time people are like, how do those things go together? And I'm like, well, I am a creator. I love being a creative. So that the tequila company appeases the adult side of my brain, right? And I went to school actually to be a teacher. And so I think that the daycares and the private school really just kind of go off of that, obviously.
Yeah, let's bring it back a little bit and talk about how you got started. Which one came first? What did you do before?
So the daycares came first. Like I just said, school teacher. So I had some experience with educating youth, but I actually taught high school. And I worked in Mexico and China, and then I ultimately came to Calgary and settled here. So I have a son with ADHD, and there was like a lot going on and not a lot of inclusivity in daycares in Alberta and probably like arguably across Canada. So I wanted to create a space where every child was welcome and no child was left behind. And during COVID, I was actually still employed as a teacher, but we got laid off because we were going into schools and working with kids. And as you know, they kind of told everybody, okay, no, if you're an extra body, we don't need you. So I got laid off and I thought, well, I guess now is as good a time as ever to try and pursue my dream to provide something for the community and parents and kids where everyone was welcome. And it was scary because it was on the tail end of COVID and 10,000 square foot building. And I'm like, all right, I have to sign my life away. And I think kind of the funny thing about being an entrepreneur is you will reach a point in your life when you're launching that store or your career or that business where it feels like there's a gun being held to the back of your head because you're terrified of maybe signing the lease with the daycare, right? You're like, oh, wow, this is like thousands and thousands of dollars that I'm going to be accountable for if this idea doesn't work. And you kind of just have to take that leap of faith. And for a lot of people, that is one of the scariest things that, you know, they'll ever do. And I think it also holds a lot of people back, to be honest, because it is a big commitment, right? It's a huge financial commitment for a lot of people. Anyway, but to bring it back, that's how the daycare started. And it worked. The federal government released something called the Affordability Grant, and daycares just went wild. I was doing like 7 tours a day. So from opening to my 6-month mark, we were full. And there's 147 kids at the first daycare now, yeah.
How did you learn like the business side of things?
My parents were entrepreneurs. I was born in Medicine Hat, and so my parents had a cleaning company out there. And so when I was young, I couldn't just like answer my household phone like, hi. It would always be like, good morning, Superior Cleaning. And so I was kind of like born into it, I guess. And it was around me all the time and staff coming through our house and, you know, picking up supplies or staff barbecues. And my dad used to take me to work. So we did like all of the commercial cleaning, I guess. So it wasn't household cleaning. So he'd take me to like City Hall and I got to go clean out the tampon machines for quarters and take out the garbage and like bring it down the hallway. But doing that, he taught me so much about business. And I never went to business school, no marketing background. It was just, I think it's something that's like inherently born into you. Not that it necessarily translates into entrepreneurship, but like owning something and just being able to really pursue and execute ideas,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So you have the daycare first.
Mm-hmm.
Did you have multiple daycares?
So in doing what I did with the inclusivity and sort of how we work things at my current center, the government actually gave me a grant to open up a secondary location. So that is going to be ready here any day, which is really exciting. It's like another 10,000 square foot building. But I think this center is going to be able to host 215 children.
Wow.
So a big responsibility, but I'm happy that the government sees value in providing quality childcare, right? So it's a blessing to have that grant and have been given that opportunity. And then, then came the school.
What, tell me about the school.
So the school, it's an early intervention and private kindergarten. And it's called the private ECS program. And it's all funded by Alberta Education. So we have speech language therapists, like OTs, psychologists. We all have a team working with these children to help with like speech delays, autism, Down syndrome, you name it. We kind of got it covered. And the research has shown that early intervention with children actually really prepares them for going into grade school. So now we're just going to be celebrating year 2 at the end of June here.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Is that in Airdrie also?
It is, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I used to live out in Airdrie, actually. So I live in Calgary now, but I used to live out in Airdrie, and that's kind of why everything is out there.
Is the second daycare in Airdrie too?
Yeah. Yeah.
Wow. And then, so you thought you were not busy enough?
No.
Wanted to take on probably one of the hardest industries to get into?
Yeah, that I think, I understand that everything requires work. I just didn't know what this beast was going to be.
Yeah.
And the time and energy and patience that it would require. I definitely went in a little blind to it, I would say. Yeah. I mean, you have a background in the industry too, right? So you know a lot about it.
Yeah, I was a liquor manager at a bar, and I did promotional like sampling and things like that too. Mm-hmm. So I get it, and a little business. When did you start the tequila business? So
Tequila Vida launched in October of 2023. But it was actually an idea that was like formulated, I think, more so on the tail end of like 2021, summer to fall sort of transition. I was working for Kitsch Wines out in the Okanagan. I have a background in working with wineries in the Okanagan, and my friends Trent and Rhea Kitsch, they started a winery out there. And when I was just like teaching, I would have my summers off. And so I would go out there and enjoy the summers out there and sell wine. And one day I was kind of just sitting on the hillside, and I'm like, why is no one doing like a low-cal margarita? Because tequila is amazing. It's a clean spirit. It's catching on. It's losing that bad reputation that it has. And so why aren't we kind of using that in an RTD? Mm-hmm. And RTD is like ready to drink, in case you don't know. And then how long did it take from idea to release? Okay, well, that is an interesting story. So when I say tail end of 2021, I went down to Tequila in the province of Jalisco, and I tasted through all the tequila houses to see what they had to offer, because people definitely distill tequila differently. And we, so Jose Cuervo actually, the reputation that it has in Canada is not the same that it has in Mexico. They actually make some wonderful tequila.
Is it different there?
It's totally different, but they just don't release it here because they already sell through it down there. They don't need to bring it up here. It's a lot different. It's smooth. They had snacks and lunch ready for us, and we got to do, I don't even know how many tequilas we tasted through there. Probably about 8 to 10. It was wild. It's pretty hard. It's like tasting wine. Wine's a little easier to do that with. You're like, okay, great. So I have to go somewhere else today and then try and remember this. I'm like, I'm just going to have like the little sip, and yeah. It's a little daunting to have 10 glasses of tequila in front of you. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And that was, so you found a producer there?
Yes. And so our brand is all women owned and created. And so the cool thing about this is that the distillery that we did find is actually female owned. And when we were going through tequila is very small. I don't know. Have you ever been there?
No.
Yeah, a lot of people haven't. But it's quite small. And we saw these like beautiful like iron doors, but it was just like this small little kind of hole in the wall. And it was beside another big distillery. So we went in there and we're like, hey, like, do you know why these doors aren't open? It looks like a distillery, but we just can't get in. And they're like, no, we don't know anything about it. And I'm like, oh, kind of weird, but all right. Mm-hmm. Such is life. And then we finished touring for the day, went back to the hotel, and then we were leaving the next day to drive back to Puerto Vallarta because it's about a 3.5 hour drive inland from the coast. And I'm like, but you know what? We just got to go back to this place. Like something is like in my gut is like pulling me to this place. So we go back and there's like this big chili shaped bus. And so there's a tour happening and the tour guide is sitting outside the bus, and I approach him and I'm like, hey, like, do you know about this place? Like, how do I get in here? What is it? And he's like, oh yes, like it's my good friend. I'll call her right now. I'm like, amazing. So he called her and then all of a sudden like the doors open. It was like this moment and it was so great. Her name was Beatrice. She comes to grab me and I tell her what my plan is. And she just starts bringing all these glass bottles to the counter because they weren't open that day. And you could tell that in like it was supposed to be kind of like a tasting room in a storefront. But at the time that day, they had another major producer in the back. So they couldn't bring me back there. They didn't want any friction. I don't know. I respected that. So she brings in all these glass bottles of tequila and so they've got little stickers on them and notes. And I'm like, okay, here we go. Like, here's the real thing. These ones aren't even like in a bottle. It's kind of funny. So we tasted through everything, made notes. And so my friend, I had my guy friend with me at the time. He's Latino. So it was really helpful for him to translate. And we tasted through everything, found one that we really liked, and we're like, we will be back. Like, we will work together. And that was at the tail end of 2021. That was in December. So then we go back to Canada. The daycare was only 4 months old at the time. And then this is when the affordability grant got released. So from the federal government, and then Alberta, they always, grab a hold of these grants and kind of execute the idea as fast as they can. So they implemented it January 1st, and it was just like a herd of wildebeest. It was crazy because they made it more affordable for parents, which I completely agree with. And it was great timing for me to be in the industry. And I'm like, oh my gosh, what's happening? So this is 2022. And I'm like, okay, yes, tours. And like I said, we're booking like 7 tours. And keep in mind, a tour lasts probably anywhere from like 45 minutes to an hour because you're taking care of people's most valued asset, right? Their children. So you want to spend time and assure them that we're providing quality care and we're the right fit. So I was burnt out. I'm like, oh my gosh, this is just crazy. And then a major competitor of mine came out and released their beverage. And I was like, wait, what? I'm like, now someone has my idea. This is the worst news ever. But I think being a good entrepreneur, you know where to invest your time, right? And your money. And I'm like, this daycare business is just taking off. So I have to make sure that this succeeds. And so tequila was on the back burner until January 2023. And then we got into working with a mixologist team, which were all women, the marketing team, graphic. It's actually owned by male, to be honest, but the gals that worked on the project with me are great. So I just started collecting all these people and organizing everything at the beginning of 2023. And then we got into can and launched on October 28th, 2023. So realistically, from idea, it took a couple years, but when we truly started working on the project, it was January, and when it went to October. So
yeah. And
then we did like a Day of the Dead launch party down on Stephen Ave. We had like the tequila mobile, which is the Bronco. And it was a time everyone came with like Day of the Dead makeup, and it was a vibe.
Yeah. Just like all the branding. That's really impressive that you saw this massive alcohol company release kind of what you wanted and kept to it instead of giving up.
Yeah, thanks. Yeah, I was really worried when the competitor launched. I was like, you gotta be joking me. This just can't happen. This is my idea. And obviously we all share ideas around the world, but it was a bit of a letdown. So I'm like, we got to get going now or we never will. And truly there's room for all beverage brands in the world, but I think what sets you apart is when you're doing it well. Mm-hmm. And the taste is good. And that is like one of the key components at Tequila Vida. We're just like, we will not put our name on mediocre product.
We're going to taste them a little bit later.
Yeah, excited for that.
So what were the initial challenges you had, and what did you learn from the start?
Money.
Yeah, I bet.
As an independent label, it is a money pit. We've got like the bigger players in the game, like Mark Anthony Group, for instance, and they have a lot of brands under their umbrella, so they're able to kind of do a little bit more. But when you're an independent label, it takes like the startup costs are so outrageous. Secondly, working with tequila actually was like one of the biggest problems. A lot of people don't understand what it takes to get tequila up to Canada, and the agave takes a long time to produce juice and grow. So there are some complications behind that, and just being able to work with one distillery versus having to maybe juggle between some. I haven't had that problem come up yet, thank heavens. But I know a lot of people in the industry that are like, they kind of just grab totes of tequila where they can to make their product, which is really interesting. And you would think that would affect quality control. But
I've seen a lot of startup alcohol companies start up at a loss, like they sell it for so low just to get the name out. Did you have to do something like that?
So we actually came in at a premium price, not because we wanted to, but because if we didn't, we were gonna kind of, come in at even more of a loss. Mm-hmm. And the funny thing about starting an alcohol brand is if you're not popular enough and you're not pumping through the volume yet, well, your canning supply people won't sell to you cheaper, right? So if you produce higher volume, you get things cheaper. So the world really isn't designed around helping startups succeed in this industry.
Yeah,
for sure. And so once you pump through the volume, you start to get things for much cheaper.
Do you have something where you have to sell a minimum at a liquor store or bar, or they stop selling your product?
No, not yet. We haven't run into that problem.
That's good.
Which, I mean, yeah, I hope that means that we're pumping through enough volume. It's been fairly popular. People really love the flavor, which is the best piece of feedback you could ever imagine getting.
Did you have an idea for the marketing before you got a marketing team or like the branding?
Yeah, so I actually drew our logo on a napkin at my marketing or like at the branding studio. And I was like, this is like kind of what I want. And I'm sure it looked like a 3-year-old like drew it, and it was pretty funny. But because it was all women owned and created, we put the agave plant on her head for a crown for a queen. Because I'm always like, what up, queen? And the sugar skull is obviously very unique to Mexico, and you see it used a lot with Dia de los Muertos, which is Day of the Dead. And it's so beautiful. And there's like so many paintings where they do like the flowers and the artwork. And a lot of, I guess, my counterparts in the industry, like they're doing agave plants with like a piece of fruit.
Yeah.
And I really wanted to be different and not be like everyone else.
I'll show the logo. It'll be floating somewhere on one of these cameras. I don't know which one. It's going to be right here. People will see it.
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate that. It's the second best piece of advice, the second best piece of feedback we've received. Like people are always like, A, love the flavor. B, love the branding. Love, love, love. And like just coming off of Beer Fest, we got a lot more feedback about our booth and our colors, and that we're not kind of a whitewash label. Yeah.
And you really look competitive with all the biggest alcohol brands. Like you have the Bronco, you have all your reels, and it's really good. I really like it.
Yeah, thanks. Hasn't been cheap. Yeah, the tequila mobile, that was the funny thing at the festival. People are like, oh, is this a giveaway? I'm like, no, we need this to drive. We don't have the money to give this away. But if you buy more of our product, perhaps one day we can do a giveaway. We've done a giveaway to Mexico, though. We sent like a couple to Mexico. We did like a promo last summer during Stampede. And one of our company slogans is, I broke up with tequila, but now we're back together. Because everyone has a bad story that began with Jose and ended in Cuervo, when they were like 18, 19 in some parts of Canada. And it's kind of like a fun play on that memory, because as soon as you say that to people, they're like, oh, yes, I remember that. I took a shot and then I like discarded of tequila for the next 5 years. And that's actually what happened to me too with tequila. I had, a bad experience. And then I was like on a date a couple years later after the first time I tried tequila, and someone ordered me Patron. Like, what is Patron? I mean, like, of course, now everyone knows what Patron is, right? But I didn't know back then. And he's like, it's tequila. I'm like, oh no. Oh my gosh. And I don't want to be rude about it. I don't want to say no. And I'm like, here we go. And it's on the rocks. And I like take a sip and I'm like, oh, actually, this is like not bad. So that was one of the fun things, and still the fun thing about working with tequila, is that there's so many good brands out in Mexico just killing it. And I think it's become very popular in the United States and Canada now to like, sip on your tequila and taste it and experience it, like a good reposado with like some caramel notes. Ugh, go off.
There's a big difference from like a short poured, warm $3 shot of tequila at a nightclub and a mixed drink or an expensive tequila.
Yeah, which actually on the bar, that is still like Jose still sells. They're the number one selling tequila in Canada, if you can believe that, because it's just the cheap tequila
volume
shot
that they put out too.
It's wild.
Yeah, not for me.
Shivers, goosebumps.
Yeah,
yeah.
It's so warm when they give it to you too. It's like,
ugh, I know. I'm like, maybe shaking over some ice, I could stomach this.
do you have like two different lives with your business with the children and your business for adults?
Yeah, I think so. I was actually quite nervous to have the alcohol company because I'm like, like what are people going to think?
Mm-hmm.
And oddly enough, the parents in the hallway at the daycare would stop me. They're like, hey, do you own that tequila company? And I'm like, maybe. They're like, is that your Bronco we see parked on the other side of the parking lot? I'm like, yes, perhaps. And I will never forget, one of the dads at the daycare owns a cannabis company. She's like, it's okay. I own a cannabis company. And I'm like, why do we do this, right? It's kind of funny that we kind of have like this idea or like this shame around being like, or having a diverse portfolio as an entrepreneur, I guess, like, and because he was even kind of like, yeah, like he doesn't talk about it a lot, being a dad and a parent. And so it's an interesting conversation that I'd like to explore further with other entrepreneurs, but I don't have enough time.
And you might not meet one that has an alcohol company and a daycare. So
Is that a jab?
No, I mean, yeah. So it is different. Your lives are different.
It is totally different. You can be, I've always been an extrovert my entire life, but I feel now that I am becoming more of an introvert and I do like spending time alone. So I think that like makes me something like an ambivert or something. But the tequila company requires so much energy and to like that, let that extrovert part of you shine. And it's something else. It's quiet. It's like quiet and loud.
Mm-hmm.
I kind of like if those were two words that I could use to describe it. But
I guess even behind the scenes in the alcohol company and when you're out at events must be pretty different too.
Yeah, well, we were just at Beer Fest and some of the parents from the daycare were there. And they're like, Debbie, we have to come see you at your booth and like introduce you to our friends. And I'm like, hi. I'm like, yes. Like it still feels a bit weird. I'm not ashamed that I've done it. I'm very proud, but it's so weird for them to be like, oh yeah, she's the owner of the daycare and this tequila company.
It's pretty cool.
Yeah, thanks.
We're gonna take a quick break and then we'll talk about Beer Fest right when we come back.
Sounds good.
Everyone's talking about prices going up, but not for us. Canadian made, born and crafted. No tariffs, no price hike. We're a Canadian made story, and while the world outside is scrambling with tariffs and rising prices, we're proud to offer something different. No middleman, no extra charges, just pure premium tequila cocktails that are as bold as our Canadian spirit.
And we're back. How was Beer Fest?
Oh, well, it was our first one.
I've never been.
Yeah, I mean, there's not as much debauchery as one would think, I guess, but a little bit. Things got a little crazy, but I think like it's a great opportunity for all of the brands to like showcase what they have and what their vibe is, their brand, like their brand voice, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because you have an opportunity in your little like 10 by 10 or however big the space is that you get to like put it up in activation.
Yeah. You did the best, by the way.
Oh,
I saw a bunch of pictures and everyone's so plain. It's like
I know.
a black linen and just a couple dancing people.
And the tent, right? Like
Yeah.
the typical overhead like canopy tent.
Yeah.
Yeah, we don't have one of those. But we're fortunate enough to have, like when I thought of branding the Bronco, that was kind of around like the whole Red Bull and the Mini Cooper. I was like, let's do for the Bronco what Red Bull did for the Mini Cooper. Because it's just a sign on wheels. And anyone that doesn't take advantage of a vehicle like that owns a company, I'm like, guys, it's just like a sign on wheels. Let's go. Because of the Bronco and what we've done with it, everyone wants it at the festival. So like kind of the neat thing about it is that I don't have to pay for like 2 booth spaces.
Yeah.
But they're like, bring the Bronco. Like, it's such a vibe. Everyone loves it. So we incorporate the Bronco into our like booth space. And then my dad and I actually built the backdrop activation. Love my dad to pieces. I'm sure he is very frustrated having a daughter like me because he owns a construction company now. And I'm always like, Dad, let's build this and this. And then he has to finish the new daycare. I'm like, we're going to probably open up another one. And he's like, am I ever going to get to retire because of you? But it's like, it's fun projects like that. I like activations count. People want to see. And that's the other thing that happened at Beer Fest. Everyone's like, you have the best booth. This is amazing. We love it. And nothing says like Mexico, like the tropical pattern, right? The bright colors. We wanted to bring Mexico to the festival and to every festival we go to and to the people. So yeah, it was, very exciting that people enjoyed it as much as I enjoyed painting it and making it. And
I loved it.
having fun with it.
I've worked for a couple product launches where there's just a sign like that that rolls up, a vinyl sign. I'm in whatever clothes.
Yep. Yeah. That's like the typical sort of look. Even at tastings, right? Like you go into the liquor store and people will always set up for tastings, and we bring our palm tree and agave plant and the vinyl sign and try to make it look a little bit more enticing, right?
Yeah.
You got to draw people in, and you can't do that having just a kind of standard look of boredom.
I was,
I guess.
Yeah, they didn't talk to me about anything for some of them.
Yeah, it's all about creating the experience for someone because you want to become memorable. You don't want to just be another liquor brand, right?
Yeah.
And that's always something that we've gone into every project, every golf tournament, every tasting, every festival with that in mind. It's about connecting with the people, not just like, oh, here, try this. Oh, here, try this. And when you go into a lot of those stores and meet a lot of those people that are doing the tastings, and that's why it's like really hard for me to like let go of that control because I offer such a different guest experience because of my background in like retail and customer service, like through school and university, but is trusting that your staff are gonna like exuberate the energy that you bring to your own brand too, right? Because I've seen those people where when you walk into the liquor store and they're like, you're like, what are you tasting today? You're like, oh, this is a vodka. And you're like, okay. I'm like,
yeah, okay. I guess I'll have a free
personality
half shot and leave.
Do you want to tell me anything about the brand?
Yeah,
yeah. But yeah, Beer Fest was good. It was successful. I think my voice is still a bit raspy because you're just like trying to compete with the music and the speakers and trying to like give that product knowledge as fast as you can while pouring and getting through the lines at your table. So it's kind of like, I guess, like, yeah, it's like working behind the bar, right?
Yeah.
You remember what that's like?
Yeah. Yeah.
Crazy nights.
What's the outcome of Beer Fest? Do you get feedback from people?
So it's brand exposure. And, you know, it's basically just a big advertisement, truly. And then you get people to try it, right? That may not feel confident enough to pick it up in the liquor store and spend their money on it there, right? That's what's nice about that. And then like the sample tastings in liquor stores too. But Beer Fest is definitely exposure, a chance to be a part of the community in Calgary and see more faces that you may not have opportunity to see otherwise.
What is your long-term plan? Is it just expanding to many places, more products, or like being acquired?
Yeah, great question. So we started in Alberta, obviously. We grew into BC and Saskatchewan now. Manitoba's on the horizon, and we just received a license to represent a manufacturer in Ontario. But the LCBO is a dangerous giant and very complicated. But in an ideal world, I would love to build the brand to excellence. And if someone wants to acquire us, I would entertain that conversation because It's not that when people sell independent labels off that they don't love what they did or love what they created. It's just it took so much out of them that they're ready for someone else to maintain it and keep it up and keep it going, right? And sadly, though, in the alcohol industry, you and I both know that doesn't always work out, right? Sometimes when these bigger companies acquire the little independent labels, customer service drops and or
they just eliminate it. And
yeah,
do
exactly. Or they just stop the product and make something better.
I feel like there's no shame in it. It's like raising a child and then they go to college and you can still watch it succeed even if you're not. Yeah.
I think the hard thing about that will be, if the time comes, will be letting go of like everything that you like just feel like your blood, sweat, and tears went into.
Yeah.
But that's why you have like contracts and negotiations, right? It's just kind of like, hey, this is what you have to maintain in order to take over the brand. And I think it being woman owned and created, well, how do we, who acquires that and how does that kind of stick around, right? And a lot of people don't know this, probably, that aren't in the alcohol industry, but it's like 85% male dominated, right? Which is not a bad thing. It just happens to have more males attacking the industry. And so, yeah, I mean, who knows if there's I couldn't recall if there's like a larger conglomerate that is all female owned, but I'm sure I'll have my team working on that sooner than later.
I just thought of one that I was going to bring. I hope I remember.
Oh.
It's not alcohol, but it's another company that I was going to bring up. We'll come back. Let's talk about Cinco de Mayo.
Ooh.
That's today, if everything goes right with the editing process. Tell me about it.
Okay,
you know more than me.
Well, do you know anything about Cinco de Mayo?
I thought I did, and I was wrong about everything in my research today. I thought it was
like Mexican Independence right?
Day. Yeah,
yeah, and traditionally that's what a lot of people think it is. But Mexican Independence Day is September 16th, and Cinco de Mayo actually represents the battle in Puebla that happened with the Mexicans and the French. So what had happened was Mexico ran up a financial debt to Europe, and Napoleon took that as an opportunity to invade and expose North America. And so they headed out to Puebla and they tried to like have this battle, and the Mexicans actually had less people fighting for them, and they still conquered the French. So it's a celebration of that defeat. That's actually what Cinco de Mayo is. But you ask like 90% of Canadians walking around on the street, and they won't be able to tell you what Cinco de Mayo is. But I think just like St. Patrick's Day, right? Yeah. People, we kind of like to put our own little turn on those days from different cultures and different countries. But I think it's also nice that we do try to incorporate cultural celebrations here because Canada is so diverse, right? Mm-hmm. But yeah, that's kind of the funny thing. It's just a time to celebrate because it did like uplift morale in Mexico when like the defeat had happened. Historically, if you kind of read about it, I think it was like in 1860. I'm pretty sure.
I don't know.
This is the teacher in me, right?
Let's try the drinks.
Yeah, let's do it.
And you have a big announcement to make.
I do. We're going to hear it here first, ladies and gentlemen. We are releasing a non-elk.
ASMR.
Yeah, which I brought him the non-elk today. And I've got the margarita. We also do Paloma.
Paloma. I love Paloma.
Yeah. Salud, my friend.
I didn't cheers you.
I know. I'm like,
how rude is that? There you go.
Cheers.
Sorry. I just couldn't wait. That's delicious.
Yeah. Thanks. Yeah, we do the margarita and the Paloma. Some people don't know what Palomas are. Margaritas are pretty well known, right?
Yeah.
Lime. But Palomas are a traditional grapefruit cocktail from Mexico, and they're usually served in like clay cups like that, sort of, for people that don't know what the name is, but like a brown sort of clay cup. And you wouldn't like get it at a resort because they won't hand out those cups because they'll get destroyed. But if you're out and about in the restaurants in the towns and stuff like that in the city.
You have some, don't you?
Mm-hmm. We actually make some. Yeah, we sell them. We have like our tequila skull like imprinted on the cup. It's kind of cool. So, but the non-elk is the big announcement today. And, you know, we live in a world now where we're seeing non-elk take off. And that was never the trajectory of my company, for sure. We work with tequila. Like, it's one of the cleanest but most like badass spirits out there, right? You associate tequila with like vibrant parties and the beach and like just having a lot of fun, where you're not like, oh, we're going to like take a shot of scotch and get crazy. You know? It's like, I'm going to smoke a cigar and like sip my scotch slowly, right? Or bourbon or wine, right? Like tequila surely is probably the spirit that is associated with that sort of party and energetic vibe, right? So like people, like I said, I've never heard someone be like, let's do a shot of rum. So we never thought that we would do a non-elk, but with, you know, give the people what they want. And we've talked about this a little bit when you're spending money like on bubbly water versus non-elk. Like, what do you do for the customer to make it enjoyable? Like, it does taste like a handcrafted margarita. And what we have done is used a patented product, an ingredient that actually gives like a subtle hint of alcohol on your tongue.
Yeah.
So it does taste more like an actual mocktail than a bubbly water.
Sparkling lime
and
juice.
That's important to me. Like, if we're going to be charging people a higher price, then it better be worth it, right? So, yeah, I had a lot of fun on the bench making that with my mixologist, for sure. It was pretty funny. We made a lot of laughs and a lot of jokes and a lot of failures. And, you know, by the 10th round, you're like, okay, I think we've got it.
Non-alcoholic drinks are really popular right now. And
yes,
like when I go out, I don't want to have 20 iced teas while everyone's drinking. No. I want to have something.
And it's the sugar too, right?
I'm all squirrely after.
You're like, great, now I can't go to bed.
Yeah. Yeah, so it's good. And it's going to be sold alongside these in liquor stores?
Yes, that's the plan. And now grocery stores are even actually kind of having a larger selection in their aisles. So look forward to that too. Like, we already have a contract with Sobeys Liquor.
Oh, wow.
So I think surely we'll be able to hopefully get into their grocery store.
You just want to get into every competitive market.
Yeah.
Shelf space.
Right?
That's got to be tough too.
Yeah. And we are going to be releasing a third tequila flavor, which I can't say out loud yet. But we're going to combine it with the margarita and the Paloma and provide a variety pack, because those have just been flying off the shelves too. I think people are kind of like, there's this weird shift right now, which I understand. It's like, I don't want to buy 8 cans of the same flavor.
Yeah.
So, and the liquor stores, that's their feedback. So we're going to release it in a variety pack. And that one's been pretty difficult because the base flavor that we're using, other people are using. But I think that wherever they're getting their ingredients from makes it taste quite fake. And we're not about that, as I said before, right? Natural ingredients and trying to find flavors that are very true to the fruit itself, right? So that has actually been one of our, like, I guess, biggest hurdles is just trying to get through to a good flavor on that. I think if memory serves me correctly, we have tasted through 6 different companies and 18 different versions of the flavor.
Wow.
Yeah.
Over how long?
3 months. Yeah.
And then when do you expect that to be done?
I think it should be in variety packs and ready to rock for June. Sometime
The drink of the
middle
summer.
June. Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Do you want to play a little game?
Heck yeah.
Okay. I have a whiteboard here for you.
Oh no. Do I have to draw?
Yeah.
Oh, good.
You have to draw. You have to draw a lime on one side
Okay.
and a red chili pepper on the other side.
Okay. Love that. I can do that.
We can talk while you do that.
All right. Sounds good.
I was going to do a red and green Maraca.
Mm-hmm.
One of each. They're hard to find. They're harder to find than I thought.
These are really like, how do we draw a lime? I don't even know how to draw a lime. Are we joking?
It doesn't matter that much. But you're doing really well. Way better than I thought you were going to do. So that's going to be the green flag.
I promise my drinks taste better than I draw.
It's really good. That's going to be a green flag.
There's your like juicy lime.
It's a juicy lime. And it kind of looks like a smile. So that's positive. Make the red chili pepper look
It's
like
supposed to be like a
frown.
lime wedge.
Yeah.
The chili pepper is actually funny because I remember when we were talking about the gentleman I had to approach to get into that tequila distillery, and he was driving a red chili bus. So this
Make
is
sure
actually
you
kind
don't-
of funny that that's what you chose.
Make sure you don't wipe the green side off on
I
your
know, I
leg.
was trying to hold it.
So what we're going to do is I have a bunch of scenarios. Red flag or green flag things to do on Cinco de Mayo.
Oh. Yep.
I have way too many. We're going to cut some. Hope you don't have anywhere to be.
No. I was just going to do things for myself today. Which
That's
I'm
good.
very much looking forward to.
Well, you can't anymore because we have a really long game to play.
It's all right. Time with you is not wasted.
That's beautiful. Thank you.
Welcome. Okay, that's better.
That's really good. Wow. Yeah. Do you have that original drawing of the logo that you made on a napkin?
I think it's actually at my house.
You should frame it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's pretty
Okay.
good. You're actually a pretty good artist.
I think the chili's way better than this.
The chili's way better.
It's like a lime with teeth.
Oh, show the camera.
Oh, okay. So that's the lime.
Yeah.
Not great. I think I did better on the chili pepper.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Way better. So you're going to hold up whichever one you feel. If it's a green flag, it's a lime. If it's a red flag, it's a chili pepper.
All right. And this is what? Things we...
Cinco de Mayo things.
All right.
And I have
I'm ready.
probably 25. So we are going to trim that down. I say things like that and then I don't. It's extra work to edit. So
I think
we'll
you
see.
can actually go... You can go through 25 pretty fast.
Okay.
All right. I'm ready.
Salt with your tequila.
Green flag.
Green. I don't know what
The worst lime ever.
It's a lime and a smiley face. You really like salt with your tequila. Cracking a tequila Vita Paloma at brunch to start the day right.
Oh, yeah.
Mm,
Green
that
flag.
sounds good. Bringing your own lime wedges to a party.
Yeah. This has got to be a green flag because, you know, you can't not have that lime.
Bar limes are horrible most of the time.
I'm like, please don't put that in my drink.
Yeah. Saying Cinco de Drinko unironically.
Yeah, you can do it.
Okay. Texting your ex after your third tequila Vita.
No. So at Beer Fest, we had a sign and it was like, I did not text. Tequila did.
Yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Done with that one.
All right.
Wearing a $2 plastic sombrero from the dollar store. Okay.
Red flag.
How expensive a sombrero do you have to wear?
How expensive?
Yeah.
Well, probably gotta like do the real ones,
Yeah.
you know?
You know what? I missed that place in Kensington with the Bulldogs. Yeah.
Yeah.
Too bad.
Yeah.
Using margarita mix from a plastic jug.
Oh, huge red flag.
Yeah.
I couldn't, like, if someone was going to serve me that, I'd be like, oh my God, sorry, I have to go. Someone's just calling me. It's an emergency.
Asking the DJ to play Despacito 5 times.
Red flag.
I bet that comes up a lot.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah.
Yeah. Everyone, yeah, that's, I think, like the funny thing that you've seen, like Latino music and like bachata and like reggaeton, like come up and it's super popular. And you have all these people like trying to sing the Spanish words to them. And it's just so funny. I love it.
Doing body shots in public.
No.
Okay.
Okay. Can we go yes for the early 20-year-olds?
Yeah.
No for over 25.
You can do anything. Yeah. Do you have a crop top that you sell?
We do.
Okay. Wearing a Tequila Vita crop top to the party.
Hell yeah.
I wanted to make sure. Skipping tequila entirely and drinking vodka on Cinco de Mayo.
Woo.
Yeah. Having a dance off in someone's kitchen at 1 a.m.
Yes.
Do you like to dance?
Uh-huh.
I hate dancing.
Really?
Yeah. I've maybe danced once.
What?
Yeah. I don't like to do it.
Oh, okay. Well, we all have our things.
Taking a tequila shot off a stranger's stomach and calling it networking.
We're going to go red flag on that.
Really depends.
Yeah.
I think there could be a green flag in there. Posting an Instagram story of your Tequila Vita margarita with the caption vibes.
Green flag.
Yeah.
Of course.
Vibes.
We always love when people post us.
Only showing up for the tacos and disappearing after 20 minutes.
Yeah, that's fine. I love tacos al pastor.
I don't know what that means.
Oh, it's the pork and pineapple.
Oh,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, that sounds really good.
Mm-hmm.
So hungry. I'm getting tacos after this. And I'll have some Tequila Vita with it. Pairing tequila with food, not just taking shots. What food does tequila pair with?
Oh, come on. Yeah, tacos.
Yeah. What else, though?
Guacamole.
Oh, love guac, too.
It actually, and you want to know what? A good reposado, when I was saying like the caramel notes in a reposado, so good. Actually, like chocolate. Mm-hmm. So it depends on what kind of tequila you're drinking, for sure.
What about each flavor? The Paloma and the Margarita.
I would do like a fresh bowl of guac with the marg, right? And then I think like the Paloma, I would enjoy more with like my tacos or just like any sort of like spicy breakfast.
Yeah.
Like we're talking to OEB right now.
Oh.
Yeah. So hopefully be like on a new brunch menu.
Bringing a cooler of Tequila Vita to the pregame.
Oh, hell yeah.
Choosing between Tequila Vita, Paloma, or Margarita like it's a personality test.
Yeah. I mean, it takes a lot of thought. Green flag.
You should develop one of those for your website, like a BuzzFeed quiz. Which one are you?
Mm-hmm.
That'd be fun.
I like that.
Telling someone we should totally move to Mexico before you even finish your first drink.
Yes. Mexico always.
That's all. I cut some on the fly. Some
All
of
right.
them not so good.
All right.
Did you have fun?
Yeah. I had fun. I like that. It's funny.
That wonderful drawing. Well, That's pretty good.
That's pretty good. The lime is atrocious. A lime with teeth.
What do you have coming up? And where can people reach you?
Well, we are on all social media platforms with the tequila company. So you can always reach out through there and our website, tequilavida.ca. But what's next? Wow, it's always a loaded question, I feel like, when you're an entrepreneur, right? Because we'd all like to say, well, I think I'm going to take some time off. Or like, I think once these get like up and off the ground and everything's okay and functioning on its own, I'm going to go like live somewhere tropical for a year and work remotely. But I think part of what makes us entrepreneurs is that we're creators. So if that is not being fulfilled, are you truly living? Right. And I know that I really struggle to shut my brain off. I don't know what I have, but something is up in there that keeps on thinking all the time. It keeps me awake and tortures me most of the time. In a good way. I don't mean that in a bad way. But in an ideal world, I would like to get tequila off the ground. And I actually would like to like take a couple months off in Europe or something, take the kids out there and like explore.
Yeah.
Because you will miss those opportunities while they're younger and they get a little bit older and they don't think you're cool anymore.
Yeah.
I don't know if I'll be like the cool mom. I'm not sure.
You're pretty cool.
Yeah?
I think you're cool.
Thanks, friend.
Maybe you'll find more inspiration for a new project while you're there too.
Actually, it's funny that you say that because I had someone approach us from France at Beer Fest. And they were like, so, Europe. I'm like, oh, God. I'm like, what? They're like, we don't have anything like this. I'm like, really?
Okay.
I'm like, why? Is it just like wine? They're like, yeah, like we don't have cocktails in a can. I'm like, oh, God. And they're like, would you be interested in talking more about it? And I'm like, oh, no. Europe, another continent. Really, really, guys.
I hope you do something like that.
Yeah,
I'll have
I don't
you on
know.
again.
How cool would it be to introduce something new over there? I mean,
Yeah.
I'm sure it'd be a massive headache, but like go live over there and who knows? Who knows
You're
what'll
facing
happen?
all the toughest challenges on purpose. So
Yeah. Just hitting my head against a brick wall.
Thanks for coming on the show.
Yes, thanks for having me. It's been a pleasure.
I'll have you again. We'll do some stuff together. We'll figure it out.
All right, sounds good.
I just take these off and it's over.
Okay.